Today I'm going to show you how I patch a brown mud lath and plaster wall. There was a window here, and of course they covered it up and reframed it. You can see when I stuck my trowel up there, it's a little bit hollow. It's about 1/8 of an inch, so I'm going to have to put a lot of mud in here to get it out flush with the existing wall. With the lath and plaster, it's always thicker, and this is even 5/8 sheetrock that's on here, and it still didn't bring it out far enough, so it's got to be at least 3/4 of an inch thick. And I've already bonded all this. I didn't show that. I did it yesterday, bonded it yesterday. But I always fill in around the edges, pulling it toward the patch. That way it fills in the crack real well. The first coat I put on there, I don't put it on heavy. It's a tendency to try to put the first coat on real heavy. I put it on tight first just to get it to stick real well again. And then I put another coat over the top of that to build it out. Now this has been sitting for a while. It's probably about an hour. You can see the difference in the color. When it gets dark like that, that means it's pretty much hard. Now I'm skimming another coat on it. I got it all built out flush. Skimming another coat, and we'll put the texture on top of this. This coat, you want to lay it down pretty good to where you don't have any trowel laps or imperfections or anything in your finish. And when you come up to your edges, you want to run it out past where you had it gauged up so you can blend that edge in. There was also a spot on the ceiling where they had to run some electrical wiring, so they made a little hole in the ceiling, so I got to patch that too while I'm here. And since this is so close to the ceiling, I just decided to run it all the way up to the top. It's only about 6 or 8 inches from the ceiling. So that way you don't have to blend the top in. You can just texture it all the way to the ceiling. Now with the brown mud plaster, it's a different texture finish. Normally we just smear it, but this is the old style texture. As you can see, it's got more relief to it. So we have to wait for it to get a little bit harder, the base coat to get a little harder before we put the finish on. Here I'm blending in the edge. You always want to blend it away from your patch that you're doing. And this just softens up the edge and blends it in a little bit, just regular sponge and water. And now with the brown mud texture, you want to drag it only in one direction. You don't. Normally we'll run it like this and then run our trowel back down flat, and that gives it the smear. But this isn't a smear finish, so you kind of have to know what you're trying to match and then try to figure out how to match it. The only time I go down with this texture is just to wipe out my start marks from where I started the stroke. So you don't want any smear in this because they don't have any. Sometimes you'll get the brown mud texture that does have a little smear in it, and you kind of have to stagger your smears. Like I say, you kind of have to just look at what you're trying to match and then figure out how you're going to do it. And here I'm up on the top, doing the top, blending everything in. And again, I'll put the same texture on the top. Now when I go from the top, I'll pull it down from the top. That way you don't get a sideways stroke across the top, which I never have liked, the sideways stroke across the top. When everything else is vertical and then you got a horizontal texture stroke that's one stroke wide across the top, I don't think it looks good. Okay, so we got it all textured. Now we wait another half hour or so, and then we knock it all down. And because this is so flat, I can knock it down real hard. Put a lot of pressure, wait till it's plenty firm enough to where you're not gonna take it back off, and knock it down real hard. And again, different finishes require different techniques. So you just kind of have to look at what you're trying to match. Now, the older houses, especially this one was built in the 50s or 60s, and it's got so much paint on the walls. It's been painted so many times, and every time you paint it, it dulls the finish a little bit. So I'm just taking a sponge and just wiping the sponge across it, and that will dull the finish a little bit to make it kind of match the paint. And you can see here it matches pretty well. I think the homeowner is going to like this one.